Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, Mr. Snegang Production here. Today, we're gonna be doing another movie review. So, the movie that we're gonna be reviewing is gonna be the second installment of the Transformers franchise called Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, one of the most controversial and most polarizing Transformers movie in the history of the franchise. Now, the main reason why I'm doing a review of this movie is because it's already 16 years old. The last time I watched this movie was not really long time ago. I think it was like since the pandemic. Watching it, I thought it was great. I thought it was alright. But then I decided to give it a rewatch, and it turns out it kind of doesn't go very well. I mean, it aged a bit like milk because some of the parts are a bit inconsistent. Humor in this movie is a bit rubbish and juvenile, and for some reason, some part of the humor does not land very well. It aged like milk. But there are good parts that I will be talking about, such as the spectacles like the CGI, the cinematography, the action, and of course the soundtrack. That's why in this video I will be breaking down on those, whether this movie still hold up or not. So please grab a popcorn, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Well, but first we're gonna have to dive deeper on how I got into this movie. Okay, so back in 2008, after the release of the first Transformers movie, I was so obsessed. I couldn't stop replaying it over and over again. So when I first heard that there was gonna be a sequel, I lost my mind. It was the happiest news of my young life. I watched tons of fan-made trailers, stop-motion videos, AMVs, anything to fuel the hype. Every day I go online looking for update. I was so deep into the hype train. I probably built the damn track myself. Then, in 2009, the official Revenge of the Fallen trailer dropped in theaters, and let me tell you, I was completely mind blown. It looked darker, edgier, and more intense. It felt like Transformers was evolving into something more matured, more serious. I remember thinking, this movie is gonna be the death of me in a good way. I keep begging my dad to watch the movie with me, even though the release date was still months away. That's how hype I was. Okay, so fast forward to the release day. I was jumping with excitement, seeing my favorite character back on the big screen, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Megatron. It felt like a dream, one of the best, happiest moments of my childhood. After watching the movie, I thought it was great from start to finish. I was entertained, sure. It wasn't as serious as the trailer made it seem, but I love the mix of action, intensity, and comedy. The CGI, insane. The soundtrack by Steve Jablonsky, completely god tier. And Michael Bay's action sequences, explosive as hell in the best way possible. And while some of the new Transformers barely have any screen time, I still thought they were cool. I didn't care about the plot holes or the critics. I was too young and too hyped to notice. To me, this movie was awesome. Here we are now in 2025. I'm older. I rewatched the movie recently and I have to ask myself, does this movie still hold up? Well, not really. Don't get me wrong, there are still things I really like. The CGI holds up surprisingly well. The action sequence, still some of the best thing that Michael Bay has ever done. And the music, it's still epic. But man, some part have aged like milk. The humor is very cringy and juvenile. The plot is confusing as hell, and the worst of all, the lack of actual robot screen time. The movie keep focusing on the human characters instead of the Transformers, which is kind of sad because they're the reason why we watched this movie in the first place. So, where the haters right all along, is Revenge of the Fallen just a bloated mess of explosion, stereotype, and wasted potentials? I don't know. Let's find out. But first, we're gonna have to break down on the plot. The film opens with a flashback to 70,000 BC, where ancient transformers known as the Dynasty of Primes arrive on Earth to harvest sun for Energon, their energy resources. But they have one rule: never destroy a planet with life. One Prime, who's known as the Fallen, betrays them by attempting to use the Sun Harvester on Earth. The other primes stop him and sacrifice themselves to hide the key to the machine, the matrix of leadership, in a secret tomb made of their own body. So, 2 years after the Battle of Mission City, the Autobots have formed an alliance with the US military in a special task force called NEST. Led by Major Lennox and Apps, they travel the globe to hunt the remaining Decepticons. During a mission in Shanghai, they fight and kill a giant Decepticon called Demolisher, who warned them that the Fallen shall rise again before being destroyed. This cryptic message alarmed Optimus, but the government, represented by Galloway, a national security advisor, questioned the Autobot presence on Earth and considered them sending them away. Meanwhile, Sam and Vicky is preparing to leave for college, hoping to have a normal life. While packing, he finds a tiny shard of the oil spark, which burns to the floor and brings his kitchen appliance to life as tiny, violent Decepticon. Sam touches the shard and gets instantly imprinted with strange Cybertronian symbol in his mind. The symbols are knowledge from the oil spark, and they begin messing with his brain, causing hallucination and mental breakdown. Bumblebee came in just in time to destroy the rogue machine, and he protects Sam, but Sam insists on going to college alone, leaving Bumblebee behind. Elsewhere, the remaining Decepticons, including Starscream, Soundwave, and a doctor-like bot Scalpel, locate Megatron's corpse at the bottom of the Laurentian Abyss using a piece of the old spark stolen from a military base and sacrificing fellow Decepticons. They resurrect Megatron, who flies into space and meets his master, the Fallen, a decaying, a godlike being hiding on a space station. The Fallen reveals his plan to destroy Earth's sun using the Sun Harvester, an ancient machine hidden in Egypt, but he can't act until Optimus Prime is dead, as only a Prime can defeat him. So in college, Sam's vision is getting worse. He starts seeing symbols everywhere and even scribble them. He met his eccentric roommate Leo Split, a conspiracy theorist, and is seduced by a mysterious woman named Alice who turns out to be a Decepticon pretender in disguise. Sam, Michaela, and Leo flee from Alice, only to be captured by Megatron. During interrogation, Megatron revealed that Sam holds the key to the Matrix of Leadership, and the Fallen wants it. The Autobot rescues Sam just in time, but Optimus is killed in battle while defending him. This became a turning point in the film. To defeat the Fallen, Sam and the remaining Autobots need to find the Matrix of Leadership and use it to revive Optimus. They seek out Jetfire, an old grumpy Decepticon who switched sides and live in Smithsonian disguise as a Blackbird jet. Jetfire explains the history of the Primes and tells them that the Matrix can be found in a hidden tomb in Petra, Jordan. Using his space-reach teleportation ability, he warped the group from Washington DC to Egypt in seconds. Sam and the gang travel through the desert trying to locate the Matrix. They eventually find the tomb of the Primes and the Matrix, but it fades away into dust in Sam's hand. Heartbroken, Sam keeps the dust anyway, hoping for a miracle. As the Decepticons swarm in for the final battle, Sam is fatally injured during the chaos. While unconscious, he enters a vision where the spirit of the ancient Prime appears and tells him that his courage and sacrifice prove he's worthy. The Matrix reforms in his hand, and he uses it to revive Optimus Prime. But the fight is not over yet. Jetfire sacrificed himself by giving up his part, which are fused with Optimus to make him stronger and better. Now superpowered, Optimus Prime defeats the Fallen in an epic showdown, rip his face off, and destroy the Sun Harvester before it can absorb the sun. The battle is over, Megatron and Starscream retreat once again, Earth is safe, Optimus delivers another hopeful speech about their continued mission to protect humanity, and the Autobots stay on Earth as guardians. So now that's the end of the story. Alright, so let's talk about the positive of this movie. You can say anything against Michael Bay, but you have to admit, the man knows how to shoot explosive, over-the-top, chaotic action like no one else. The fight sequence in Revenge of the Fallen are huge, loud, and aggressive. And for a kid like me in 2001, that was big cinema. From the Shanghai highway battle to the forest fight scene where Optimus takes on three Decepticons at once, the action is non-stop and beautifully choreographed. That forest fight in particular is like one of my favorite sequences in the entire Transformers franchise, and I don't care what people think, it still holds up. This movie looked absolutely gorgeous. Michael Bay and his cinematographer Ben Saracen go full blockbuster mode here, giving us the wide desert shot, military flyover, and golden hour lighting that feels more like a war epic than a toy commercial. Even when things get insane, the movie has a real sense of scale. You feel the size of these transformers, especially during the final battle near the pyramid. It's visual overload, but in a good way. This movie is already 16 years old, and the CGI still hold up in 2025. The visual effects are completely insane. Industrial Light and Magic brought their A game, and even by today's standard, these robots still look detailed, heavy, and real. You can see individual gears turning, part shifting, and real mechanical weight in every transformation. The sheer numbers of robots on screen and the way they interact with the environment was groundbreaking at the time, and even now still impressive, especially scenes like Devastator climbing the pyramid or Jetfire teleporting the group to Egypt. So one of the things that got me hyped back in 2009 was seeing the new characters joining the fight, and even though some didn't get so much screen time, their design and presence still left a mark. So here we have Sideswipe, one of my favorite Autobots in the movie, next to Bumblebee. He transformed into a Corvette Stingray. He's slick, silver, and smooth with those badass blade arms. His takedown against Sideways was one of the best introduction in the whole franchise. I remember my parents buying me a toy of him. I was very happy and excited until I broke him. I regret it, but those things are in the past right now. But I'm still happy about it. Jolt, my main man. He transformed into a Chevy Volt. Doesn't do much in the movie except he combined Jetfire parts into Optimus, but I'm gonna give it to him. At least he had one of the best design in the movie. The first three female Autobots in live action. The only thing I really don't like about these two is that they barely had any screen time. So whenever I expected a female character to be in a Transformer story, I expected them to have much bigger screen time and more backstory to be told. But instead, they're just used as a background character, which is kinda disappointing. Gotta admit, I'm gonna be honest, this is gonna be my most unpopular opinion. I don't mind with their design. A lot of people have issue with the way they look because it wasn't as sexy and curvy as people wanted it to be. But I do love the bicycle in this movie, even though I'm not really a fan of bikes. Here we have Jetfire, the old crotchety Decepticon who turned into an Autobot with a crane and a British accent. He was very funny, surprisingly emotional, and ended up being the crucial to the final battle. His sacrifice won't be in vain. He gave Optimus that jet power upgrade and sealed the win. The only thing I really didn't like about this character that he sacrificed himself. I wish we could have seen more of him in a future Transformers movie, but the sacrifice are made. Alright, so let's talk about our first Decepticon here. Grinder. A lot of people confuse Grinder with Blackout from the first film, and honestly, I don't blame them. Because they had the same helicopter, the same design, they just have different name. He showed up on the force fight against Optimus, but he gets killed easily. Seriously, Optimus sliced his arm off, jumped on his back, and cut his face in half like a Mortal Kombat. That was to me one of the best part of the movie, but outside of looking cool and dying hard, Grinder doesn't do really much. Sideways, one of my favorite Decepticon in the movie. He transformed into an Audi R8. I'm surprised that his design in the movie looks so similar to Barricade from the first movie. Plus, I expected his character to be a lot more important, but nah. He appears in the Shanghai scene, run away from the Autobot, and sadly he got sliced by Sideswipe in under 30 seconds. Great kill though, cool design, but he was completely wasted. I still love him. Soundwave, my second favorite Decepticon. The first time I saw a Decepticon satellite entering the scene and trying to hack into another satellite, I didn't expect that guy to be Soundwave. I expected that his character to play an important role in this movie, like, joining the fight. But nah, he was just hacking into more stuff to get more information and details. Plus, my guy deserved a lot more screen time. And the idea of him transforming into a satellite mode instead of like a cassette tape like from the original cartoon, that was such a smart move. Who said anything about Michael B. ruining your childhood when he made one of the best decisions in the movie? Plus, I was surprised that his voice actor was actually voiced by Frank Welker, the original voice actor for Megatron and Soundwave. He did a great job doing the gritty, dark voice instead of the retro voice from the original cartoon. Ravage, one of Soundwave's minions, a sleek panther-like spy bot dropped from space to infiltrate a US base. He steals the Allspark shard with brutal efficiency and bounces. No talking, no wasted movement. He has claws, teeth, and stealth. His death was kind of anticlimactic, but visually he's like one of the best Decepticon design in this movie. A lot way better than the G1 design. I don't care. Argue with a wall. This movie gave us Devastator, the massive combiner form from several Constructicons. Watching him assemble in the movie theater on top of the Egypt pyramid was jaw-dropping, a true kaiju side transformer. I know people love to make fun of this guy because of his tactical gag, but I don't care. Plus, his design is a lot way better and superior than the G1 design. I don't care again, please argue with a wall. Demolisher was another big one. He literally appears in the Shanghai opening, rolling around as a giant unicycle robot. He's visually insane, but again, he barely does anything outside of saying that ominous line before getting blown apart. His death was stylish, but just chaos. Alice, one of the best, sexiest character in the movie, turns out to be a Decepticon, played by Isabel Lucas. Not gonna lie though, I love the concept of a Decepticon pretender. It kind of reminds me of my favorite movie of all time, Terminator, but with a mix of Alien from the Alien movies. To me, this is like one of the most creepy, uncomfortable, and felt like a scene from a different movie. It's a cool idea for a sci-fi horror movie. Plus, Isabel Lucas is hot as hell. One of the biggest surprise for me back then was seeing Megatron's return. Honestly, I thought he was gone for good after getting wrecked in the first movie, dead, finished. So when I saw him in the trailer for Revenge of the Fallen, I was like, wait, he's back? And man, it was great seeing my boy Megatron back on the big screen. Revived in true Decepticon fashion, using an old spark shard and sacrificing another bot like it was nothing, he rise out of the ocean rebuilt and more pissed off than ever. His design got an upgrade too, more jag, more alien looking, with that creepy crab claw arm. You could tell he'd been through hell, and now he wasn't leading anymore, he was following orders from the fallen. That dynamic was interesting. I don't understand why many people didn't like it. Seeing Megatron not as a top dog, but as a servant to a higher evil, it gave him a different kind of role, but honestly I wish the movie did more with it. Still, every scene with Megatron felt like a threat, especially when he took down Optimus in the forest fight. Even his character arc wasn't super deep, his presence brought weight to the movie, and for fans like me, just seeing him alive and kicking again was a win for me. Alright, so let's talk about the negative of the movie. I thought that this movie was gonna be more matured and more serious based on the trailer, but instead we're getting robot testicle, dog humping, bot browning jokes, Simon's ass being shown in the screen, and Sam Mom losing her mind on the campus, wheelies humping Michaela's leg, and more and more and more. You know what? I thought we were watching an actual Transformers movie, not some bad boy ripoff. The humor in this movie doesn't even fit for a Transformers movie. You know what? I'm gonna be completely honest. I never really hated Skid and Mudflap. I didn't even think they were intentionally racist when I first watched the film as a kid. But looking back now, yeah, those two don't belong in a Transformers universe at all. They were clearly written to be a comic relief, but not that kind that enchants the story, the kind that derails it. They aren't characters with purpose or arc, they're just loud, obnoxious caricatures. Like, seriously, what did they even do in this movie? Oh, right, they tried to fight Devastator during the desert battle and somehow managed to land a few hits, but outside of that, it was completely useless. They even admit that they can't read Cybertronian language, which is wild considering that they're Transformers, And what really bothers me is that they even got more screen time and dialogue than other actually important Autobots like Sideswipe, Ratchet, or RC. Also, what happened to them? What really happened to them? The last time we saw them, one of them, I can't remember which one, they got shot in the face and yelled, "Man, you shot me in the face!" And then they just vanished. No follow up, no final moment, no explanation. Same goes for Willie, by the way. And look, as much as I dislike this dude in the movie, I'll admit something kinda wholesome. My parents actually bought me their ice cream toy as a gift when I was a kid, so even if the characters suck, I still have that nostalgic soft spot for them, at least in toy form. Also, speaking of character screen time, this movie is supposed to be a Transformers movie, right? So why are we spending most of our time following the characters like the human? Sam college life, relationship drama, Leo conspiracy antic, well it's not actually bad, and Galloway government BS take up way too much screen time. Meanwhile, the awesome Autobot like Sideswipe, RC, and even Ratchet barely got any line. The Decepticons, well, not worse, but most of them, they just show up to die. We came to see robot action, not Shia LaBeouf running in the sand for 40 minutes. The imbalance is completely frustrating. The movie is literally called Revenge of the Fallen, and yet the Fallen does almost nothing. He talks big, hide in a space chair for most of the film, and only show up at the very end just to get instantly destroyed by a jet powered Optimus Prime. There's no build up, there's no personal motivation, no tension. He's supposed to be this godlike original Prime, but he ends up as a generic final boss with no fight. No, honestly, Megatron was way more threatening and he wasn't even the main villain. I think the only good thing about this fallen character is that he has a telekinetic forces. His head design is shaped like a Decepticon, which makes perfect sense. Plus, he's voiced by Tony Todd, who plays the Coroner from Final Destination and also the Candyman from the horror film called Candyman. This movie has so many major identity issues. One minute it's a dramatic war film, the next is a slapstick college comedy, then suddenly it's a mythology heavy sci-fi with space god and ancient stone. Like seriously man, seriously. There's no consistent emotional tone. You go from Optimus Prime dying in a heartbreaking scene to some twins talking about popping some cap ass. It's like killing the pacing and waters down any serious moment. You know what? I think that enough. I can't complain any more stuff. I'm too tired. I don't wanna ramble a lot, so we're just gonna have to move into another topic. Well, technically, yes and no. When I say yes, I'm talking about the stuff that still slap even today. It's the CGI is insane for 2009. The details on the bot still put some modern blockbusters to shame. The action scenes are explosive, intense, and creative, especially the forest fight and Devastator's reveal. The cinematography brings real scope to the chaos. It's loud and messy, but it looks great. And of course, the soundtrack. Steve Jablonsky's score is epic as hell, and Linkin Park just hit different. But when I say no, I mean the stuff that aged like pure milk. The juvenile humor is all over the place. Robot penis or balls, weed, brownies, dog humping. Like, why are these in the movie? The plot is all over the place. It's bloated, confusing, and full of lore dump that barely makes sense. And worst of all, the humans get way more screen time, while the actual Transformers are more of a background characters, again and again and again and again. So yeah, Revenge of the Fallen may have its moments, but does it still hold up? Well, only if you're longing for nostalgia. On the surface, it had everything. A huge budget, returning cast, incredible visual, and hype from the first film, but somewhere along the way, it all kind of fell apart. Here's why. The 2007 to 2008 writer's strike hit the movie very hard. Michael Bay and the crew basically started shooting without a fully finished script. That's why the movie feels like it's being made up as it goes, because in a lot of ways it was. The result, a story is full of plot holes, confusing mythology, and characters that show up and disappear with no explanation. Michael Bay himself admitted that the strike forced them to rush the story and improvise on set, which is why the film leans so heavily on visual spectacle and dumb humor to fill in the gap. So yeah, the writer's strike didn't just affect the plot, it practically ruined it, and the movie never really recovered from that rush foundation. Well, not really though. It doesn't feel like a Transformers movie. Well, honestly, at time, it doesn't even feel like one. Yeah, there are giant robot explosion and Optimus Prime giving inspirational speech, but if you took the Transformers out of this movie and replaced them with regular soldiers or high-tech cars, it could still almost work. Why? Because this movie doesn't really focus on the Transformers themselves. It focused more on Sam college drama, the secret government conspiracy theory, random comedy scene, and a ton of human nonsense. It feels like a less sci-fi robot movie and more like a Michael Bay action flick that just happens to have a giant robot in the background. Like seriously, at certain point it feels more like Bad Boys but with Transformers. Same chaotic camera, same style over the top explosion, same type of immature humor, even a similar military fetish. The heart of what made Transformers special, the personality of the Autobot, the lore of Cybertron, the emotional connection between human and machine, is barely there or buried under explosion and humping joke. So, is this a Transformers movie? Technically, yes. Spiritually, it's more like Bayhem featuring robots. So there's my answer. Well, not really. Even it's not a good movie, sure has a lot of emotional moments. Like, let's be honest, even though it's a bad movie, there's always going to be something cool and valuable in this movie. Like, a diamond in a rough rock. If you think that Revenge of the Fallen is like the worst in the franchise, let's not forget there are other movies that are 10 times way worse than Revenge of the Fallen. So my take is that if Revenge of the Fallen is one of the worst, well, no doubt. But at least it has some structure, some great action, and genuinely memorable moments like the forest fight or Optimus upgrade. It was a complete mess, yeah, but at least it was a watchable hot mess. Well, no, not really. The first Transformers was perfect. It felt fresh, focused, and had something this sequel doesn't have. It introduced the world to live action Transformers with a perfect balance of wonder, mystery, and action. Revenge of the Fallen tries to go bigger, louder, and more chaotic, but it forgot to go smarter and more deeper. The first Transformer was a solid foundation with heart, clarity, and balance. Revenge of the Fallen was a complete bloated mess, overcooked sequel that forgot what made the first one work. Bigger isn't always gonna be better. Sometimes it's just louder. Well, technically, yes and no. And when I mean yes, it damaged the franchise reputation with critics, made the series a punchline, and showed the world that more explosion doesn't mean better storytelling. For many fans, this was the moment the heart of Transformers get lost in the noise. But when I mean no, at least it still made $1 billion, introduced iconic action scene, and kept the franchise alive for more sequels. Plus, for a whole generation of fans, it's still part of their childhood, flaws and all. So no, it didn't ruin the franchise, not really, but you know, a proper completed script, less cringe humor, more Transformer screen time, a stronger villain, and a balanced tone, and cut out some unnecessary characters. Keep the action, but we have to add more heart. Let the music guide the emotion, and more and more. Alright, so here's the last question. Honestly, not exactly. It wasn't good, but it wasn't great either. But it's not the worst thing ever put on screen either. At the end of the day, Revenge of the Fallen is what we call a popcorn flick. A movie you can watch for explosion, the cool visual, and the adrenaline, not for the story or characters. It's loud, flashy, and kind of dumb, but sometimes that's all people want. Just don't expect anything deep, meaningful, or timeless. This movie is not The Godfather, it's not Citizen Kane, it's Michael Bay, it's pure chaos with robots. So yeah, so that's all for my movie review. I hope you guys enjoy what I'm reviewing here. If you enjoyed so far, please don't forget to like, comment, rate, and subscribe. I'll be making more videos like this someday in the future. I don't know because right now college is taking over my life and I have no time to write a script or whatever. Although there are some list of movies I'm gonna be reviewing someday in the future. I'll probably review Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, and Fear Street Pumpkin. But for now, I have to take a break from everything. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you guys. So I apologize for pulling the shameless plug. But if you guys are interested in watching a gaming content, please don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel where I will make some video game content such as The Walking Dead, Dead Space, Minecraft, Need for Speed, and more. I will be seeing you guys soon in the next video. So bye. God bless. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Get that freaky, freaky on, get that freaky, freaky on.